Shabbat Shalom. As many of you have heard or remember, I spent my vacation time moving into a house that I just bought. Very exciting, but also moving is a complicated process. It's more than just that the moving day itself is tough, which it is, and it's more than you gotta pack, and then you gotta unpack. There's a lot to moving. You gotta get boxes, and you gotta get tape, and then you gotta get more boxes, and then you gotta get more boxes, and you gotta decide the order of packing. Do you pack this bedroom first? You can't pack your kitchen because you need the kitchen stuff. That's awful. Then you actually have to pack. Terrible. Then there's your moving day. No thank you. And then you have to figure out where you're gonna put the furniture in your new house, and then you have to unpack all the boxes. I've been there for about a month so far, exactly. Yeah, about a month to the day. Still unpacking. It's a lot of boxes. Don't go in my garage. And so many people, it's so sweet, have said to me, "Oh, Rabbi, I heard you're moving. Let me know and I can help you pack. Or I can help you unpack. I can watch David while you're doing what you got to do." So many people have said that these past couple weeks. It's so sweet. Have I taken them up on it? Have I taken you up on it? Very few of you. Very few of you, Marty. And it's not that I haven't needed the help. Oh no. Many times when I was packing, during the move, while I was unpacking, I looked around at the chaos and I thought, wow, I could really use some help right now. This is really hard to do on my own. But I also know that I'm not doing it on my own due to any lack of offers to help. I know that it's just that I didn't ask. I didn't accept the help when it was offered to me so happily, so gladly by so many of you. But you know, I think everyone knows, it can be really, really hard to ask for and to accept help. Yet I learned something recently that reminds me that this is an age-old issue. In Shoftim, the name of the Torah portion we read this week, we hear of the Arei Miklat, the 6 cities of refuge that we are told to set up in the land that we're going into. Now, these were made for people convicted or committed manslaughter. They could run away to these cities of refuge. Now, you have to remember, in ancient times, blood guilt was a real thing among ancient people. Jews were no different. If someone killed a member of your family, you'd go and kill them back. You'd get revenge, human nature. Now, murder is one thing, of course. In ancient times, capital punishment. And the Torah makes it clear that Jews do that too. Later rabbis do some other stuff, but that's another sermon. So murder, capital punishment, makes sense. But what about manslaughter? If someone accidentally kills somebody else? By Jewish law, by any law, that's not a capital offense. Not if it's accidental, didn't purposefully do it. But in a culture of blood guilt, while a family of a victim may intellectually understand the difference between murder and manslaughter, in practice, they might want revenge on you of a more permanent nature. So, if you commit manslaughter and their family's out for revenge on you, you can run away to an Ir Miklat, a city of refuge, and live there safely. Sounds pretty useful, right? I'd want to know where one was if I need one, God forbid, in such a situation, someone was coming after me. I would be very glad that the Torah says, Tachin lecha haderech, prepare for yourselves a way, so that anyone who has committed manslaughter has a place to flee to. But you know me at this point, being the nerd about words that I am, grammar, language, Hebrew. I gotta ask, why does the Torah say, Tachin lecha, prepare for yourselves a way? Prepare a way? How do you mean prepare? Mean build a road to these cities? Because you could have just said build. They could have used the word build. It doesn't say build, it says prepare, tachin. Rashi, medieval guy, has an interesting answer. He says that when the Torah says, Tachin lecha derech, prepare for yourselves a way to these cities of refuge, he says that it meant that at every crossroad, 2 streets, a signpost should be put up, directing the way to the nearest Ir Miklat, the nearest city of refuge. That, according to Rashi, is what the Torah means when it says prepare a way. It means put up a sign. Rabbi Ephraim Mervis, chief rabbi of the UK, takes it a little further. Because he reminds us that at no other point in our Torah or tradition do we ever get the instruction to put up signs towards our one most holy place, to Jerusalem. We're never told, never, not once, put up signs to go to Jerusalem. Jerusalem, it's the most important holy city for the Jews. He says Jerusalem especially was important in ancient society. Everyone needed to go to Jerusalem at least once in their life, usually multiple times during your life. There were certain sacrifices you could only offer in Jerusalem. Jerusalem is so incredibly important and holy, especially in ancient times. Everyone would need to know how to get to Jerusalem, but we are never, not once, told to put up signs directing us to that holy city. And yet directions to a city of refuge, a place where you go if you commit manslaughter, an act, thank God, far, far less frequent than going to Jerusalem. For this, we're instructed to put up signs. Rabbi Mervis believes that the reason is, of course, obvious. A person who is running for their life, he says, wouldn't wish to admit to anybody else that they needed to go to a city of refuge. Rabbi Mervis says they needed the signposts. This section in Shoftim about the Ir Miklat, the city of refuge, it may be about human nature being to get revenge. But just as much, I think, it's about how it's human nature to not want to ask for help when you really need it. Maybe because we don't want to look weak or inept. Maybe we don't want to feel like a burden on other people. Maybe we're ashamed. Yet the Torah is reminding us that it is when we need help the most that we must seek help and accept it. Help is a two-way street after all. We must, all of us, always jump to offer help. Help isn't just giving money or things. It's giving our time, our expertise, our support. And Jewish tradition bids us to offer as much, as often as possible of those aspects of ourselves. We're supposed to build those cities of refuge after all, right? But also, we must be able to ask for and accept help when it is offered to us. Those signposts exist because it is so very hard to ask for help sometimes. Y'all know I moved last month, but what a lot of people don't know is that I also moved last year out of my apartment and into a rental house. That move was really hard. It was so hard. Packing took weeks to pack. I lost count of how many trips I made to Home Depot to buy boxes, and then more boxes, and then more tape, and then more boxes, and then more tape. Moving actually was a process. It took days, weeks actually, to move everything from my apartment to my house. And by the time, a year later, just now, I moved again, packing wasn't so bad because I had so much stuff still in boxes. I never really unpacked from the first time. I'm not proud about that, but honestly, it was really handy. I'm not gonna lie. And look, I'm not saying this last move, the one I just did, was a cinch or a breeze. Moving is never a breeze. I still hate moving. And I definitely wish I accepted more of the help that so many of you very generously offered, and really thank you so much. But I am very proud to say that unlike last year, this time, I didn't buy a single box, not a single one, because I took the ones that were offered to me this time. And I asked folks who I knew had just moved if I could have their boxes. So if you're one of those many folks, thank you very much. And a big thank you to the admittedly few of you I took up on your offer to make some late night runs between my old rental house and my new house, and your big Texas-sized vehicles to move my very last boxes. Something my little Corolla is not quite built to do. I appreciate it a lot. Like so many people, I am really bad at asking for help and accepting it. I want to do it all on my own because I don't want to put other people out. I don't want to be a burden, and I hate I really hate that I cannot take care of all aspects of my life myself. But that is such a ridiculous idea, such a ridiculous notion if you think about it. No one can take care of all aspects of their life on their own. Human beings are communal creatures. If we have been having a discussion in this Torah portion about human nature, well, by nature, we live in community, which also means relying on and asking for support from our community. And that doesn't make you weak to do that or burdensome or an outlier even. It makes you normal. It makes you human. So the next time you hit a point and you think, gosh, I could really use a little help, the Torah would bid you to remember that while it may be very difficult for you to do so, the Jewish thing is to ask for help and accept it also. And from my own experience, it is not easy, but it does get easier to let people help you, and that people are wholeheartedly happy to do so as well. Shabbat Shalom.